Hey everybody, PC Outcast here, back with more Everlasting Summer, and trying to find love in all the Lena places. That's a reference to Leisure Suit Larry, in case you've never played any of those. Actually, I've never played them either, but you know, apparently Leisure Suit Larry is not allowed on Twitch. It is so, I don't know, risque, I guess? Anyway, Electronique was building something with rapt attention. I'm done with everything, so I thought you could get me something as you promised. My voice sounded a bit sycophantic, which was enough to drive me mad. Of course, I'm not insisting, but 1 minute. He tore himself away from his work and got a pair of buns from the drawer and a classic triangular pack of kefir. Be my guest. Thank you. While I was busy eating, Electronique didn't turn away from his device for a second. He was rolling up the wire, which I had taken away from Lena, into the coil. So what's this? An inductor. Inductor? Join our club and you'll know everything. He looked at me and smiled slyly. I'll think about it. Of course, I wasn't going to join anything, but taking into account that he had fed me, I had to be polite. By the way, as I said, I have something else. Well, yeah. Wait a sec. He went into the adjacent room and came back after a minute with some kind of package. Tan-ta-da! And gave it to me. There was a big bottle of Stolachnia vodka inside. Huh, I get it, but it's still morning. Or does Electronique share the motto of get drunk in the morning, take the entire day off? What are you talking about? I'm not suggesting we drink it. We have it to clean the optics. Cleaning the optics. Yeah. Right. Internally. Okay. I gave him the package back. I'll go then. Come back anytime. Of course. The moment I want to have a drink, I'm surrounded by a bunch of kids. Walking out, I questioned myself why he wanted to show me the vodka in the first place. Suddenly my hunger returned again. What, a couple of buns and some kefirs not enough for you? For sure, a meal of some buns and kefir was awesome, but it's not enough to fill me up. Hey, luckily for me, I heard the bell sound, calling pioneers for lunch. Okay, now we can skip. Of course we're gonna go with Lena. I mean, durr. Let me go with you. We get that scene again. And, that. I tried my best thanks to, I don't know. And, whatever, Clubhouse again. Working on the girl, the robot girl. Try to snatch the book out of Alisa's hand. Yeah. Grab it. That's Xenia. Okay. Now, last time, this did not work. I tried to find out what they were talking about, or arguing about, but somehow I ended up with this, so please, that one. Only Lena and Alisa stood out in all this splendor. Well, of course, it was quite natural for Alisa to be arguing with someone like that, but hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, I came closer, silently, trying to find out what was going on. Alisa, no, you listen to me. I'm not going to listen to anything. Really? Great then. Alisa turned away and her eyes met mine. At first, she obviously was confused about what was going on, but then... So you're eavesdropping? What, me? No. She began slowly advancing on me, and I took a few steps back. Lena, however, remained standing where she was. Well, okay then. Listen. Alisa stopped halfway and turned back to Lena. By the way, did you know he was peeping on me today? What? peeping, and he saw everything. Is that true? Lena wrung her hands distrustedly, gave me a quick glance, and started staring at the ground as if she was cut off from the world. No, nothing like that happened. Having thrown an angry glance at Alisa, I came up to Lena. Why are you denying it? I even have a witness. Your witness is even worse than you. So you'll stick to your claim that it didn't happen? I took a second to think. But really, why do I have such a pathological desire to exonerate myself before Lena? As though I vitally needed it. Need her opinion of me to remain unchanged. Though how would I know what she was thinking? It didn't happen. Lena threw a baleful look at Alisa and raised her eyes to me right after that, eyes full of discomfort and hope. It suddenly became unbearable to stare into these eyes. It didn't happen. I repeated less confidently. Well, whatever. Alisa sneered from behind me. It's up to you to decide who to trust, she said to Lena offhandedly, then turned away and headed to the bonfire. Is that true? I felt uncomfortable, like a fish out of water, feeling the urge to end this as fast as possible. And why should I have to excuse myself to her? Well, so what if it did happen? I looked at Lena boldly, but noticed only a bright sunset gleam reflected in a tear which was going down her cheek. Ah, no, I meant... You don't need to lie. She wiped off her tears and tried to smile. After all, it's none of my business. No, why isn't it? But why is it? It's just that well, it was an accident. Get it? An accident which was caused by Yolana, nothing more. Yeah, sure. It's true. I believe you. Lena was saying everything with absolutely no emotion, like she didn't care at all about what was going on. I was almost able to believe it, but her tears a few seconds ago? Seems to me that you don't. What is this, some kind of game? Lena said quietly, but there was a hint of anger in her tone. You really need to convince me of that? And even if I believed you, what then? Would it all become true? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want you to understand that I'm not guilty, and didn't want to... Why should I care at all? Lena shouted. I was standing with my back to the bonfire, but I was sure that all the pioneers had turned in our direction. If you want to peep at someone, do it. Do whatever you want. But why do you bother me? I'm not. But really, from any point of view, it looked that way. I'm trying to excuse myself to Lena with no success. Like a guilty child, or maybe even like a husband who slept up. Just so you know, I don't care. Lena turned away and headed back to the camp at a fast walk. I didn't try to stop her. Now it certainly wasn't the best solution. She's on the edge. No attempts to convince her or appeal to reason would help. Since when is she like that? Screaming that way? Getting mad? With these thoughts in mind, I returned to the bonfire and sat down on a wooden log. Well, that did not go well. So? Alisa asked after seating herself nearby. What? Not a great success, eh? As you see. I growled out while picking at the coals with a stick. It grew completely dark and the glade was plunged into darkness. The surrounding landscape was reminiscent of a picture from a child's book about a wood monster. An unknown forest creature is just about to spring out from behind the tree. Predatory owls hoot menacingly in trees. Even mice looking out from snags stare at you with distrust. I was not afraid at that moment. Everything was different from the previous day when I was in the dungeon at the old camp. The moon was shining brightly, paying close attention to our brave troop. The world was sleeping, waiting for the morning, bathing in the moonlight. As I thought, though it was expected. But why? I finally managed to pick up the largest burning log and throw it into the center of the fire, causing the flames to rise about a meter high and a vortex of sparks to spread out in all directions. Does Lena often behave like that? How? screaming at others. I couldn't believe she would act in such a way. She is human, like anyone else. Alisa giggled. As if you hadn't noticed this before. What hadn't I noticed? Her. What do you mean? I mean, this is her true face. What do you mean, true face? Oh, you're so stupid. Finish what you started. She's not what she seems like. Not like how you thought of her before. So how is she? Oh, okay, I'm sick of this. Alisa stood up, intending to leave. I didn't say anything, just sat and listened to the silence of the forest. By the way, if you want to follow her, I think she's on the island. On what island? The one where you were gathering strawberries today. And what is she doing there? Ugh, you really are an idiot. Alisa stomped the ground, circled the campfire, and sat opposite. I must have really lost track of things. My head was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway full of speeding thoughts overtaking each other and causing giant chaotic crashes, then now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant desolate forest which is only used in times of absolute necessity. I tried to think over what had happened, analyze it somehow, but it seemed I was bashing against an invisible wall. Moreover, it was impossible for me to find a single emotion in my soul, any response, as if it had all happened to someone else. I failed to convince Lena that I'm not guilty. Should I care? Lena cried, screamed, and then left. So what? I don't feel anything about it. Should I? I bit my lip until I bled and stood up. I couldn't bear to stay here among these laughing pioneers. I should run away. Doesn't matter where to the forest, to the mine, even to space. I don't care. Just so long as I can get far away from here. I seized a moment when the camp leader was looking in the other direction and vanished into the forest shadows. There'd been no rain for a long time. However, I'm not sure whether it rains here at all. What a stupid idea. Of course it does. The plants need some moisture. The night was fresher than the afternoon, but the air still hadn't had enough time to cool. I felt a little dizzy from the evening stuffiness. Suddenly I realized that I really wanted to swim. It's quite a normal desire because the days are hot and you constantly feel soaked with sweat during the daytime. I didn't even notice that I'd been approaching the pier. Why not the beach? Thoughts of Lena came over me again. Everything that I tried to ignore came out and brought lots of inconvenient questions, inappropriate answers, and vague desires. It was obvious that I'd been led to the pier by my subconscious. But what do I really want? To apologize to her for something? To convince her of something? No, unlikely. I just wanted to get some sort of reaction from her. Wanted her to say, yes, I understand everything, and just smile. And then I could stop myself from feeling like that. It was unnecessary for me to be understood by it was necessary for me to be understood by someone, even in this world. I untied a boat, pushed it into the water, got in, and took up the paddles. It was easier to row this time. My hands were still hurting, but I managed to develop some sort of technique that allowed me to travel quite directly. The river seemed frozen, spreading under the boat like a translucent veil. The moonlight was piercing deep into the water, so it was almost impossible to see the bottom. I started rowing. Ugh. Surprisingly, the island now seemed the same as it did in the daytime. Here, usually everything is different. After dusk, it felt like another world, a mystery world. Scary at times, but beautiful in its own way. A world of shadows and whispers, a nocturnal world. I slowly walked around the island, looking for the boat which Lena took to come here. The grass softly rustled under my feet. The occasional wave peacefully struck the shore and bounced back like flies too tired from beating on the glass. The breeze from the water lazily stirred the leaves of the trees, out of habit rather than a real desire to make the night grove sing. I looked at this wonderful picture with such delight that I didn't even notice something until I stumbled into it. It was a boat. Well, of course. She wouldn't get here by swimming. I headed towards the center of the island. After 100 meters, I heard a rustling from behind a tree. Don't come any closer. Sorry. Don't come any closer. Lena whispered. I hesitated. Don't come any closer, she said louder. How did you know it's me? Though she hadn't indicated that she'd known that. All right. I leaned against the tree, trying not to look behind it. Alisa told me that you would be here. So what? It was difficult for me to know what emotions Lena was experiencing. Her voice was steady enough, even though I could read irritation and annoyance in it. I could not understand whether she was angry or whether it was all the same to her. That came out awkward. I was doing my best to avoid unnecessary apologies and excuses, but couldn't find other words to use instead. Was that the only reason you came? No. Well, I don't know. You don't know, but you still came? Yes. You shouldn't have. Why? Of course, if I'm bothering you. Why are you following me? She was right. It certainly looked that way. Moreover, I definitely felt attracted to her. You shouldn't think like this. How should I think? I don't know. I can only draw conclusions based on your behavior. I really don't know. I guess I'd better go. I was confused, and it was hard just to be near her. Why? Since you came... I seemed to hear a playful tone in your voice. Alright. And? What? What did Alisa tell you? Nothing special. I see. Yeah. Well then. Yep. What a terrible conversation. She just stayed silent for a while. Since you came, tell me about something. Well, I don't know. For example, about what happened this morning. What about what happened this morning? You know. You yourself didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to, but now I want to. Lena's voice trembled. I couldn't understand what was happening at all anymore. Maybe it's not her behind the tree. Don't look. Okay, but what's wrong? Nothing, just don't look. Alright, as you wish. So nothing happened? Well, something did, but that was all just a silly accident. Then why are you so worried about what I think about it? I'm not worried. And anyway, you yourself. I said louder, beginning to feel irritated. What about me? Why are you so concerned about the situation? Who said that I'm concerned about the situation? Then what? Nothing. She said in a whisper and fell silent. Such talk would lead us nowhere. Yeah, no kidding. Lena won't say anything, and I seem to be too stupid to guess or even just to be sure about myself. Sorry, I guess it's all my fault. I just cannot understand. Why? What? Why do you keep apologizing for everything? For what you did, for what you're doing, even for what you haven't done yet. But maybe she was right. But I couldn't behave differently. I felt the need to apologize to her, to everyone. So they would not think badly of me, wouldn't laugh at me. So I can put away something unsaid and eliminate misunderstandings. Anyway, that's your business. Lena got angry. Apologize, make excuses. Why should I care? Okay, well, I'm not guilty. In fact, I don't think I could be blamed for anything, but then what's wrong? What is wrong with you? Why would something be wrong with me? I don't know, I just think so. Oh, you just think so? She laughed. You speak as if you know me. I didn't answer. Please leave, Lena said after a while. I didn't move, just could not. Had no strength to do so. I wanted nothing at this point. Didn't want to excuse myself, to apologize. I didn't even want her understanding. I was too tired of everything. Why? Just leave, she whispered. I don't want to. Then I'll leave. Let's just go together. No. How long are you going to be offended? By what? What's wrong with you? Everyone here behaves normally except you. I did not care what my words meant, as if they had been said by someone else and the topic of conversation meant nothing. You really don't understand anything. Alisa was right. About what? Never mind. I closed my eyes to think it over. No, I can't go. I don't understand, don't know what to think, what to do. And since when did I stop worrying about my situation in this world, or how to get back? Since when was the only thing I could think about Lena or the only thing I could think about Lena or how others would look at me or how my actions looked from the other side? It's just stupid and it's not like me. In fact, it's inappropriate in the situation. In short, I didn't do anything, and don't intend to justify things which I didn't do. There was no reply. Hey, do you hear me? I finally decided to see who was actually hiding behind the tree, but no one was there. So she left. I rushed over to Lena's boat, but she was already far away, almost near the pier. Wow. Whatever, I shouted and walked along the shore. Ah! I got back relatively quickly and without much trouble. However, my hands still ached terribly and my eyes were closing themselves. Probably such a physical and more importantly emotional load is too much for one person. I walked slowly toward the camp leader's cabin, staring down at my feet and thinking about nothing. Someone called to me at the square. Hey! Alisa ran up to me. Have you been to the island? Yes. To tell the truth, I didn't want to talk to her about anything, but I already didn't have the strength to lie to her. And how did it go? Doesn't matter. I'm very tired and I'm going to sleep. Come on, tell me. Her face had such a nasty grimace that I shuddered with rage. Why should you care? Well, she murmured in dismay. Mind your own business. I snapped and quickened my pace toward the cabins. Alisa did not try to stop me. Annoyingly, Olga had not returned yet and I could not find my key. What if I lost it? The only thing I could do was wait. I plopped down on the deck chair and closed my eyes. My heart was heavy and my soul was being torn apart by vague expectations. From time to time I had a feeling that I was already dead, just without realizing it, and I had been thrown into hell. But really, instead of trying to get out of here, I'm spinning on a diabolic roundabout and it goes faster and faster. I'm becoming more and more involved in the life of this world, of this camp. As if I had no past life, the real one. As if I was always interested in the opinions of others. Damn it, I never cared about it. Why right here? Why right now? I recalled the face of Lena, in tears. Yeah, probably not the opinions of others, but her opinion was the one I cared about. I hear far footsteps, and after a while, Olga appeared. She looked at me for a few seconds, seemed like she was about to say something, but then just sighed, opened the door with her key and went in. I followed her. Shapeless shadows, blurry memories, fragments of feelings and emotions swirled in my head for a long time. For so long that after a while I couldn't tell where I was or what's happening to me. The only salvation was sleep. Hey. Hey, Lena. That really did not go very well. I woke up because somebody was shaking my shoulders. It was too hard for me to open my eyes, so I just whined pathetically. Get up already, you're gonna miss the lineup. Once I realized what Olga wanted from me and what time it was, I rolled over to face the wall. I was so tired that I wanted to choke the camp leader just so that she would quit disturbing my recovery from a hellish yesterday. Semyon, get up immediately! I mustered up my strength, opened my eyes, and sat up. Olga, I understand, but I had a hard day yesterday. Can I sleep in at least today? Started pleading. It's out of the question. Lineup is mandatory for every pioneer. And you've already missed a few times. My head went completely numb, so I just couldn't find any arguments against that. In a couple of minutes, we were already standing at the square. I dozed off, taking great pains to not fall asleep on my feet, so I missed everything that Olga announced. The majority of the pioneers seemed to feel the same. Elektronik yawned constantly. Alisa had huge, baggy eyes. Only Yelena seemed to be full of health and energy, as always. I swept my eyes over the lineup again and couldn't find Lena. That's odd. Generally, she's a diligent and committed girl. It's unlike her to miss such events. On the other hand, that was too much for her yesterday. Such stress. She's probably depressed. Although such behavior from her was very surprising. I mean, I'd expected that she was not the kind of person she wanted others to see her as, but I never expected such a drastic change. Lena, amazingly, somehow reminded me of Alisa, even more harsh and brutal at times. And now I was not sure how to behave around her. I was simply afraid of her. Finally, lineup was over and the pioneers dragged themselves off to breakfast. Miku caught up with me near the canteen. Semyon, good morning. How did you sleep? Any dreams? How are you? Ready for breakfast? She, as always, blabbered without a break, adding a cute smile at the same time. I'm okay, I answered lazily. Today is quite gloomy, maybe because of the weather. It's quite dark. It may even rain. So yeah, everyone's sad and gloomy. I thought maybe something happened, but no one told me. Can you imagine that? Something happening and everyone knows about it apart from me? I was sad about it, but then... Don't worry, you won't miss the end of the world. I delivered a snarky remark. Huh? It looked like she was so into her monologue that she was completely oblivious to everything around her. And if you're going to miss it somehow, I will make sure to let you know. Nothing. Enjoy your meal. I marched to the canteen with a firm step to get my daily portion of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. To my surprise, the seat in the far corner was free. I sat down and tried really hard to make a face that would let everyone know that there is really no need to come anywhere near me unless there was an emergency. I just wanted to sit alone and think. Moreover, keeping my mind off other things was making me less sleepy. Slavia. Hi, mind if I join you? I did not notice Slavia standing there. Strange. Sure. I answered after hesitating for a second. Bad mood? A bit. Did something happen? Not really. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. There's nothing to tell you about. We kept eating in silence until I asked, where did you go last night? Me? Oh, I just wanted to be alone for a while. That's not like you. I felt a bit more lively. Really? Well, maybe. It's also not often that you're seen so gloomy. She might be right. Even in the most unfavorable circumstances, I've always tried to have a positive outlook on things. Not that I was an optimist, I just always tried not to feel too down. Keeping my previous life in mind, it's only natural. As soon as you let depression get hold of you, the noose will start to look very appealing. Perhaps. When Slavia was done with her meal, I was still poking the porridge with my spoon. I'll be going. By the way, have you seen Lena? Nope. Why do you ask? I didn't see her at the morning lineup. That's odd. It's not like her. Maybe you're right. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest. Yes, of course, I was just wondering. I sat for a few more minutes in place and then headed outside without finishing my breakfast. Today was quite gloomy. The first gloomy day during my time here. I'd kind of gotten used to the bright and burning sun. The heat that would only subside by the evening seemed to be an irreplaceable component of this place. It looks like even here the weather changes after all, almost like it's catching my mood. It looks like just more proof that this place or its creators are sentient and have great storytelling skills. Ha ha ha. Yes, you guys do. This is quite interesting. I'm quite enthralled in this whole story. Sometimes I really wanted to focus on a single theory of mine, concentrate on it, and forget about all others. Just to decide for myself that it's all done by aliens, or I'm in a parallel universe, or witchcraft, or military experiments. Just to pick one and be done with it. To stop thinking about all the possible explanations to the situation, constantly jumping from one to another. How about this? You're playing a video game! Just to focus on a single one. But it's impossible. I have almost no facts about anything. Nothing extraordinary has happened to me here yet. Yeah, some odd things took place, but they can and do happen in the real world too. After yet another cycle of similar thoughts, I found myself at the bus stop of Route 410 in the gates of Camp Savianok. No answers, no hints, no clues. I was walking wherever my legs were taking me. It was quiet in the residential area, not a single person there to be precise. My astonishment grew even more when Electronique appeared around the next turn. I wanted to call out to him, but stopped because he was going a little too confidently in an unknown direction. It's strange that that goes against his nature. Anyway, what can I talk with Electronique about? And yeah, I've had to start the conversation first. Seems like I was completely in despair. However, it would be interesting to follow him and find out where he's rushing to. As a child, I liked games of spies, and here's a chance to put myself into a real spy's shoes. I decided not to sneak and hide in a special way and just tailed him quietly at a distance. Soon we came to the library. Electronique knocked and went inside. I stood behind a big tree so nobody could see me and began to wait. What is he doing? He's trying to act very strange. He was absent for quite a long time. Perhaps this is a stupid idea, because in fact, what's the difference? What difference does it make if he went into the library? Maybe just decided to get something to read. Maybe he's banging Xenia. He was walking fast. So what? Perhaps he has some business afterwards. My thoughts were disrupted by a loud door slam. Uh-oh. I looked towards the library and saw Electronique running away from there, and Xenia, who ran after him, shouting along the way, "I don't want to hear it anymore, or to see you either." They ran past me, but naturally they were so involved in chasing that they didn't notice me. The whole situation seemed very funny, and I decided that I needed to find out what the matter was. I wonder where could Electronique be running to like that? Huh. Well, we're at the library. I mean, I'd imagine he'd be running to Clubhouse, right? Probably. Well, let's try the infirmary. Perhaps he ran to the infirmary? No, that obviously is a silly idea. Okay. Hiding in the canteen wouldn't be a bad decision. However, he wasn't here either. Well, fine. Yes, it was quite obvious that he ran straight to his native cybernetics club. I entered without knocking, but didn't find anyone inside. Electronique, it's me! The sound of footsteps came from the next room, and soon Electronique himself appeared. Hey, Semyon, I'm just... His eyes ran guiltily, and his shirt had visible traces of sweat. Going in for sports, I see. Sprinting. You saw that? He asked, doomed. Yes, purely by chance. So I decided to stop by and ask how you were doing and what happened. Nothing special, really. Indeed, fleeing from an angry librarian. It's nothing. You can tell me, I smiled disarmingly. Really? And you won't tell? Of course. Silent as the dead. Cross my heart. Seems I exaggerated there a bit, but looks like it had convinced him. Okay. He took a deep breath, gathering strength. You know, I've liked Xenia since the first day. At those words, I wanted to fall on the floor and start rolling around, shaken by violent attacks of laughter. But out of respect for him, I refrained. Still, his next few words flew past my ears. And so I just decided, well, you know what happened next. A brave fellow indeed. Well, you try harder, I guess, and you will succeed. Yep, that's the way, man. Just try and try again. Xenia might be a tough nut to crack, but, you know, love conquers all, friend. Okay, we'll continue this in the next episode because we are running well over time. Thanks very much for joining me for this episode. We'll see you next time.